Okay, I will call the November 27, 2023 public hearing to order. And first item on the public hearing is condemnation hearing, 46218 Laurie Drive, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403, assessment 5820405, District 6. Anyone here speak on that matter? Okay. Next item on the public hearing is an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 48, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 3, Operations Section 48-52, maximum speed limits established. Anyone here to speak on that? Okay, the next item is Ordinance 2366, an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 8, Amusements, Article 3, Public Amusement, Division 2, Special Event Permit, Section 8-116, required, and Section 8-120. Council may impose conditions prior to granting, standing requirements and conditions. Anyone here to speak on that? Okay. The next item is an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 36, Planning and Development, Article 5, Standards for Development of Property, Section 36-113, General Standards for Major Subdivisions and Special Use Commercial Developments. Anyone here to speak on that item? Okay, if not, we'll go to the next one. An ordinance amending TP Ordinance Number 22-74, 2023 budget of the Tangipahoa Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau. Anyone here to address that item? Okay. The next item is an ordinance directing the renewal of the levy and collection of 2.81 mil ad valorem tax on all property subject to taxation within the boundaries of the parish for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2025 and ending with the year 2034, for the purpose of maintenance and support of the Tangipahoa Parish Library and its branches. Anyone here to speak on that? Okay. Next item is an ordinance placing 35-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on Perkins-Nickens Road and Tuttle Road in District 10. Anyone here to address that item? Okay. And the next item is an ordinance placing 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on Saint Road in District Number 6. No one here for that item? I'll close the public hearing and call the Tangipahoa Council meeting to order. I'll ask you to please, if you have a cell phone, to either mute it or turn it off, please. And I'll ask Mr. Joseph to do the invocation, and I will do the pledge.
Okay, like all those able to stand, please stand, please. And Lord, as we head into this Yuletide season, please help us to remember this, that when money is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. But when character is lost, all is lost. Please help us to be forgiving this Yuletide season. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings we have received. We thank you for our health, our strength, our peace of mind, our families, and our friends. We ask that you bless this meeting tonight by giving the leadership all the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding to make all those decisions that are pleasing in your sight. And we'll be ever mindful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. In addition, Lord, we ask that you bless those whose responsibility it is to make sure that we are protected and we are safe and sound as we go about our daily business, namely our first responders, our police officers, our military personnel, and all those who run toward danger and not away from danger. Bless them, Lord, and bless their families as well. Again, we'll be ever mindful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. And as we leave this meeting, Lord, give us guidance and safe travel back to our various homes and abodes. These blessings we ask in your Jesus' Son, in Jesus Christ's Son's name, and all the saints in the sound of my voice responded by saying, Amen.
Everybody face the flag, and veterans and active military, please render the proper salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Miss Jill, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Forrest, Mr. Ingraffia.
Here.
Mr. Joseph.
Present.
Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Richtel.
Here.
Mr. Mayhew.
Here.
Mr. Wells. Mr. Bial.
Here.
Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Ms. Coates.
Here.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is adoption of the minutes for the regular meeting dated November the 13th, 2023.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Joseph is the first. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Ridgell. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Ridgell. Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 8-0. Public input, anyone wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing? Not being any. Parish President's report, Mr. Miller. You got a road map here tonight.
Good evening. We have quite a few items, but I think most of them will go fairly quick. The first item is the financial reports, which you have been emailed and or have hard copies. As always, if you have any questions as you go through it, please contact Missy or her staff, and we'll get you all the answers that you need to make sure that you're fully up to speed. The first item that we're asking for any action is approval to accept into the parish maintenance system Coburn Lakes Phase 1 in District 8. Our staff has confirmed that these streets meet the standards for our acceptance into the system.
Oh, that's in my district. I'd ask someone to make that motion for me, please. Mr. Joseph, Mr. Ridgell, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Ridgell. Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates. Mr. Graffia.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Next one is approval to accept into the parish maintenance system Morgan Creek in District 6. Again, our staff has checked it out and made sure that it meets the standards to be accepted.
Mr. Mayhew, I think that's yours.
So moved.
And a first by Mr. Mayhew. Is there a second?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph is a second.
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Ridgell.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
you.
Motion
The
passes
next one-
8-0. Number 4.
The next item is approval of year-end bid for landfill alternative daily cover. It's only one bid, same company, LSC Environmental Products out of, I think, Baton Rouge.
Not
It
sure.
wasn't on the paperwork, was it? Anyway, they're the same company we've been having for a number of years. They're the only bidder, as a matter of fact, so.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second was Mr. Ingraffia, and that's for 148,792. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Ridgell.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Next one is approval of the 2024 Section 8 payment standards. These are annually, these must be annually approved to, and they meet the HUD guidelines for our parish.
So moved.
Mr. Joseph is the first. Is there a second? Mr. Mayhew is the second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ridgell.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Motion passes 8-0.
The next one is authorization to seek request for proposals for our financial agent. The period would be 2024 through 2027.
Is there a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Mr. Joseph first. Ms. Coates is the second. Would you call roll?
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Ridgell.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Item 7.
The next item is approval to seek bids for electrical repairs at the Region 9 Distribution Warehouse. This is the Independence property. When we purchased it, if you remember, it reported that the folks in the neighborhood, somebody, I shouldn't say whom, removed most all the electrical. So we're having to rebuild it back. The funds for this, the majority of the funds to repair this building are coming from state capital outlay.
So moved.
All right. Mr. Joseph was the first. Is there a second?
Second.
Second was Mr. Ingraffia.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Ridgell.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Question, David.
Yes, sir.
Robbie, when you anticipate us getting into that building full force?
It's probably, we're pushing to be able to use it for hurricane season, so,
Yeah, be good.
yeah. second quarter, early second quarter of next
Yeah,
year.
I passed by there the other day, I saw we had Tangipahoa Parish.
We do have
got
the sign on it,
up,
right.
yeah. Good
There's still a
job.
lot of work to that. We're focusing on the one big building right now.
Yeah.
Can we send somebody down there to cut the grass?
We will, yes, sir.
On the roadside.
Okay. We did it once. I know we did when we first got it. Yes, sir, we'll check it. Thank you.
We finished roll call? All right, the roll call was 8-0. Next item, Robbie?
Accept the recommendation of condemnation report for 17306 East Parker Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403, assessment number 1988700. This is in District 8. It's the first step in the process.
move for line now.
That's mine, but either way, it's okay. I need somebody to make the motion anyway. District 8, that was mine, so Mr. Ridgel was the first. Is there a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
Second,
Give it to Kim.
Ms. Kim. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Thank you. The next one is
That was 8-0. No, next item?
accept the recommendation of condemnation report for 44246 East Parker Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403, assessment number 3202909. That's in District 7.
So moved.
Mr. May is the first. Mr. Ridgel is the second. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Okay, 8-0.
The next one is accept the recommendation of condemnation report for 49385 Whiskey Lane, Tickfaw, Louisiana, 70466, assessment number 978418, and this is in District 5.
So move.
All right, first by Mr. Ridgel. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Mayhew. Call roll, please.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Just a note about the 8, 9, and 10. This is the first step. Typically, so far, we've been very fortunate that most of the property owners clean it up themselves. So let's hope that that happens on these. This next item, number 11, we're to the next point for cutting grass. Approval to hire a contractor to cut the grass at 14175 Happy Woods Road, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403 in District 10. Once the contractor's been hired and the work's been done, then we'll lien the property for the cost of the contract plus administrative fees.
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Kim made a motion. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Mayhew. Call roll, please.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. The next item, been asked to table that, and it's basically what Mr. Miller said, that it's one that we've gone after to clean up, and these folks have basically done 90% of the cleanup, so we're
Looks like-
asking to table, and we'll,
Looks
till
like
we
as
get
of
the till we
today,
get
they're
the other
working pretty
10%.
hard.
So,
Yeah,
appreciate
today
it.
they're working pretty hard to get it cleaned up, so we're going to give them a reprieve for a little while.
All right, can
I
I have
do
a
want to
mo-
make a quick note about item number 13.
One thing, can I have a motion to table?
I'm sorry.
12. Can I get a motion to table?
So moved.
Mr. Mayhew and Ms. Hyde. Call roll, please.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Okay, item 13.
13 is actually not in the parish president section, but I did want to make a note. It's
Okay.
the approval of an industrial tax exemption contract for Fisher Manufacturing in Ponchatoula. They actually have 2 contracts. Just want to make sure that everyone understands it's a local company. They've got local folks who live in the parish who work there. They've been very successful the last few years. The ITEP program is a constitutional mandated program, and they have met all of the standards to be able to get it. For them to get it is for us to agree, or we can say no. I just think that whenever folks invest in our parish and employ our citizens, that they should get the things that the Constitution awards to them. So that's all I had to say about that. Any questions about anything else that I had up here?
No, sir.
Great, thank y'all.
I think the investment too is like $711,000 for Fisher Manufacturing. So I'm looking for, under regular business, approval of a tax exemption for Fisher Manufacturing LLC application number 20220426, ITEP.
And it's another, it's two applications.
Do both of them?
Yeah.
Yes, and application 202-30164, ITEP. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Coates, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Hyde. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Ms.
Yes.
Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Motion passes eight.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Would you, just for the public's knowledge, because the Daily
Bruno.
Star wrote an article that the parish was gonna have, speed limits.
Can we hold on that one just a second?
I thought that was the
Let
one.
me
we
get
was on.
14. Item 14. Discussion and possible action on condemnation.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. This is the next one.
Yes. All right, so, item 14, discussion and possible action on condemnation, 46218 Laurie Drive, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403, assessment 5820405, District 6, Mr. Mayhew.
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Mayhew and Mr. Rizzo, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia? Yes. Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Now, on this one, I think you're supposed to say,
All right, now we get into adoption of ordinances, adoption of TP ordinance 2365, an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 14, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 3, Operations Section 48-52, maximum speed limits established. I think this was your question, Mr. Bruno?
The Daily Star wrote an article, and in the Daily Star, it made it look like that we were gonna make all roads the same speed limit. If you read the article, and I read it twice, so I think maybe they had some wires crossed, but I think we need to explain to the public what this is actually gonna mean. This is basically for roads that don't have a speed limit, that the speed limit will be set at a certain speed limit, and the only way that speed limit can be changed if that councilman decides that that speed limit is either too slow or too fast. But if you read the article, it said that the parish was going into the process of making all the roads under one speed limit, and that was not it. Because I had a few people that called me about that. So this is only for roads that are not marked now. They will have a speed limit, and then if the councilman feels there's a problem, then the councilman can bring it to the board and have that speed limit changed.
That's correct. I mean, I'm looking at the ordinance itself, and unless otherwise provided and posted,
Correct.
it'll be 35 on a parish road and 25 in a subdivision.
So I'll make that motion.
All right, but what I need here is, I'd like for a motion to amend. I was requested that we take out the word maximum speed limit established, so I need a motion to amend, removing this word maximum in the title.
I'll so move.
No second.
And there's first and a second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yeah.
Mr. Richtel? Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Now I need a motion to adopt as amended. Is there a motion?
So move.
First, is there a second?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph is a second. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes. Okay, and I need to back up to item 14. In that commendation, we need to put, condemnation, we need to put a time frame. So I think I can just go on the record here and say 60 days, 90 days. Somebody help me here.
60 days, want to give us 60 days? Haven't y'all been dealing with this? Haven't we been dealing with this?
On this particular property. This property came into question because we had already had a condemnation hearing for it, and y'all voted to approve condemnation. We didn't, when we served the owner, he refused service, so we hand-delivered a notice to have another hearing for him. The council's already voted to condemn the property.
Okay.
He's already had a time to remedy the situation. So in reality, you could reduce the amount of time for him to clean the property to anything you want, 15 days, 10 days, 60, 30, whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to give him another 60 days.
No.
Yeah, I mean, this actually was voted on June 12th.
Okay.
We'll
So do we
we'll
even
give
need
him
to put
30
it, I'm sorry, do we need to even put a time frame in here or not?
You do have to have a time frame, but it can be
Okay.
any time from today,
Okay.
15 days,
We'll give
30.
him 30 days. If he doesn't clean it up, then we'll go ahead and follow through with it.
We just go on the record for 30 days? We good, Chris? Yeah. Okay. So we're on the record for 30 days. Thank you. All right, let's see, where was I? Number 16. Okay, item number 16. Adoption of an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 8 Amusements, Public Amusements, Division 2, Special Event Permit, Section 8-116 required, and Section 8-120. And council may impose conditions prior to granting, standing requirements and conditions. We talked about this at the last meeting. It's basically given special events applications get a rolling 365-day period where they can hold 2 events. And if they hold more than that at the same site, they have to go through the commercial development process. So is there a motion?
Also move.
Ms. Hyde, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Ridgel is a second. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes. Motion passes 8-0. Okay. Okay, item 17, adoption of ordinance 2367, an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 36, Planning and Development, Article 5, Standards for Development of Property, Section General Standards for Major Subdivisions and Special Use Commercial Developments. This just ties in. It used to have talk about construction of on new lots. This ties in old lots with the same regulations. We talked about this at the last meeting. Is there a motion?
Also move.
Ms. Hyde, is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Coates, would you call roll, please?
Ms. Coates? Mr. Graffia? Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Okay, passes 8-0. Item 18, adoption of ordinance 2368, an ordinance amending TP ordinance number 2274, 2023 budget of the Tangipahoa Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau. Any questions? Motion by Mr. Bruno, is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Joseph, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel? Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Passes 8-0. Item 19, adoption of an ordinance 2370, an ordinance directing the renewal of the levy and collection of a 2.81 mills ad valorem tax on all property subject to taxation within the boundaries of the parish for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2025 and ending with the year 2034, for the purpose of the maintenance and support of the Tangipahoa Parish Library and its branches.
Got it.
Mr. Joseph's the first. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Graffia, I think.
Is this another one, or is this?
No, it's the same.
Yeah.
No, this is just adopting.
This is to put the new one back into
Yes,
place?
yes, yes.
It just passed.
So Mr. Joseph was the first, who was the second?
Graffia.
And Mr. Graffia was the second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Okay, passes 8-0. My list seems like it's getting longer. Item 20, adoption of ordinance 2371, an ordinance placing 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign on Perkins Nickens Road and Tuttle Road in District 10.
Also move.
Ms. Coates, is there a second?
Mr. Mayhew?
Mr. Mayhew was the second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates? Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Item 21, adoption of ordinance 2372, an ordinance placing 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on Saint Road in District 6. Mr. Mayhew,
So move.
is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Coates. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Graffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Motion passed 8-0. Now we get to introduction of some ordinances. Number 22, item 22, and these public hearings will take place on December the 11th, 2023. Introduction of TP Ordinance 2374, an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 36, Planning and Development, Article 7, Approval Process and Procedures, Section 36-172, Procedural Process for Subdivision of Property, as-built drawings. This went through the Developmental Rec Committee and is recommended by that group. And it will require that to provide some final CAD drawings with all infrastructure. That way, we can just tag on like we do, if they do sewer infrastructure or water infrastructure, they'll have the CAD drawings, and they'll just be able to add those to the existing CAD drawings.
Also move.
That was Ms. Hyde. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Coates is a second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mayu.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates. Mr. Graffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Motion passes 8-0. Let's see. Item 23. Introduction of ordinance 2375, an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 36, Planning and Development, Article 5, Standards for Development of Property, Section 36-115, Special Use Residential Commercial Developments, Manufactured and Mobile Home Park Requirements, 17, exceptions for manufactured home parks. This was recommended by the DRC, and all we're doing is removing some language. Language needs to be removed from this section to match another section in the ordinance which we already adopted. So we're just removing it from one place. We've already adopted it in another place.
I'll make that motion.
Is that Ms. Coates?
Ms. Hyde.
Ms. Hyde, and then who's the second?
I'll second.
And Ms. Coates? I knew I had that. So. Would you
Mr.
call roll,
Bial.
please?
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates. Mr. Graffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayu.
Yes.
Okay, item 24. Introduction of an ordinance amending and enacting Chapter 42, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage, Article 1 in General Section 4221, Road Specifications. Has to do with base and saw cement placement. This was recommended by the DRC. And I guess I just can read this one. For saw base course, base shall be proof road before and after saw cement treatment placement. Saw cement shall be approved by the BPW and covered with asphalt pavement within 30 calendar days of final placement or as directed by DPW. DPW may require further testing or replacement as deemed necessary if 30 days are exceeded without DPW approval. If there are any questions, Joey's here tonight and he can answer them. Or Misty, one of the two. Anyone?
So move.
All right. First by Mr. Bruno. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Hyde. Would you call roll, please?
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Graffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayu.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes. Okay, item 25, introduction of an ordinance 2377, an ordinance amending TP ordinance number 22-66, adoption of the operating and capital outlay budgets of the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government for fiscal year 2023. And those were reviewed today by the Finance Committee. Missy had them at the Finance Committee. Mr. Joseph?
Yes, so moved.
Be a first. Is there a second?
Second.
Second one, Ms. Coates. Call roll, please.
Ms. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Graffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Richtel. Mr. Mayu.
Yes.
Mr. Bial.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Okay, and we get into adoption of some resolutions. First one being adoption of Resolution 2343, a resolution in support of Tangipahoa Parish President Robbie Miller in his candidacy for second Vice President of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana Executive Board and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
I would like to hear his platform. You know, just voting on stuff and not knowing what he's he could be a woke person.
Also
Could
move.
you give us a brief
I would
synopsis in 30 seconds or
I
less?
love Louisiana. I'm going to work hard every day, and we're going to do the right thing.
I think we need,
Under those terms, I guess I'll make a motion for him.
all
There you
right,
go.
you made a
Oh, you had
motion,
it already?
you made a motion to table,
You
is that
can
what you said?
second.
Yeah.
I think I have a motion in a second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
I think we should have made him write an essay.
Mr. Vial, if you might, I'd like to thank y'all for that support, and I'd especially like to make sure that the record indicates that Mr. Bruno did vote for me.
And it's on TV.
Unbelievable.
I still think he needs to write an essay giving us some of
All
his
he's got to do is
platform.
hand out the right candy and he'll get voted in.
David, I'd like to make a comment on that.
Yes, sir.
You know, we have the police jury convention in February at Lake Charles, and several of our council members hold position at the state level that the people in the parish know nothing about. So when we come back, if we are still holding those offices, I'd like for us to announce who is holding what office. I know, Carlo, you were on the agriculture committee for years, and no one knew anything about it in the parish.
He was there from 1900s.
So we'll do that when we if we're still holding these offices. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is adoption of Tangipahoa Parish Resolution 2344, a resolution supporting the Planning Commission adoption of the 2045 Tangipahoa Parish Comprehensive Plan on November the 7th, 2023, in accordance with LARS 33106, and acknowledging the mutual support of the plan's goals, objectives, and implementation strategies to achieve the planned vision and support the public's long-term health, safety, and welfare. Okay, this has been going on, and we have Ms. Carter here from the consultant group, but this has been going on about a year approximately, and it's about what do we want the parish to look like 20 years from now. It's basically a blueprint. It is not the devil in the details, so to speak, but it's a vision of how we want the parish to look economic development-wise, green space-wise, athletic facilities, the whole parish. So the Planning Commission is charged with adopting the comprehensive plan, which they have done at the last Planning Commission meeting. And what we're doing here is we're just a resolution of support for that. Now, next year, we will have to hire a consultant to work with the parish so that we can write the exact codes for the comprehensive plan for the parish. But this is just a resolution of support for the futuristic look of the parish. That's what it's about. And met with most of the councilmen. Actually, I served on the committee and Ms. Hyde served on it, so you may want to comment also, Bridget. But and I think y'all met with all of the councilmen in smaller groups within the last month.
I'd just like to thank Alex and her team. They did a great job. Tracy Shalacy worked really hard with her on this, and I'm very excited to see us move forward with this plan. They really got a feel for our parish. They went from one end to the other, and it's going to be a really great tool for our planning commission to use and for our council as we move forward with ordinances. So I will gladly make that motion.
David, can I make a comment before we vote?
Yes, sir.
I want to commend you as well, Bridget. I don't know if you all are aware of it now, but Lawrence Scott did a study, and he said that this parish is the fastest growing parish in the state of Louisiana. Were you all aware of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lawrence Scott, the economist at LSU. So we're growing, and it's good to plan ahead
Are you saying people are moving here?
and spending money.
I don't know who came up with that idea.
The same guy that you just voted for a while ago.
And we just elected him second vice president.
Good job, Robbie.
We're hoping the rest of the state will see it that way.
Great job, Robbie Miller.
And I'll make the second.
I was about to say, I was looking for a second. Ms. Coates is the second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Oh, were there any questions for Ms. Carter? Anyone? Nope. Okay. Just want to be sure. Thanks for being here. Item 28, adoption of a resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government to approve to move forward with condemnation proceedings of a structure located at 17306 East Park Avenue, Hammond, Louisiana. Assessment 1988700, and that's my district. Would someone make a motion on that, please?
So moved.
Mr. Bruno, is there a second?
Yes.
And Mr. Joseph, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Item 29, adoption of Tangipahoa Parish Resolution Number 2346. A resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government to approve to move forward with condemnation proceedings of a structure located at 44246 Parker Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana, assessment number 3202909.
So moved.
And that's Mr. Mayhew. Is there a second? That was in Mr. Wells' district. Is there a second? And Mr. Ridgel. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Passed 8-0. The next one is a resolution 2347, resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government to approve to move forward with condemnation proceedings of a structure located at 49385 Whiskey Lane, Tickfaw, Louisiana, 70466, assessment number 978418 in District 5.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Mayhew, call roll, please.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Item 31, a resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government for State CWEF Water Grant.
Joe, is these Eastern Heights money? Or these for Eastern Heights?
No, sir, this is not.
Okay.
This is just that annual that we get. It's roughly, between the two of them, it's roughly $100,000, and we allocate it amongst the cities and us. But it's not, it's,
Okay, okay.
Is there a motion?
I so move.
Mr. Ridgel, is there a second? Second by Ms. Coates. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia? Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel? Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. And item 32, adoption of resolution 2349, a resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government for a state LGAP grant. Any questions on that? I think, anybody have any information?
It's pretty much, it's the same. Whenever I said between the two, I meant the CWIF, the previous vote y'all did, and this vote, it's a total of about 100. So it's not huge money, but we do have a few projects we get done with it.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there a motion? Mr. Mayhew, is there a second?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph, would you call roll, please?
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Bial?
Yes.
Mr. Bill.
Passes 8-0. Yes, sir.
Question. Joe, any news on Eastern Heights at all?
Yes, sir. We had a call with USDA on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday before Thanksgiving, due to the liens in place and trying to figure out the USDA piece. We are in the process of explaining to USDA, we're a government agency, we can't take on that debt. It's not a private company that's stepping in. We received some documents from Eastern Heights. I was looking for Missy. From Eastern Heights, which now allows USDA to communicate with us on that loan. So,
That's the
We-
holdup.
yes, sir, we can't transfer their physical assets with the lien that's currently in place from USDA.
What is it about, what, 800?
A little less, around 7, a little more, 710,
Does
705.
it look like they're maybe leaning towards, or could you get some kind of feel of what they're,
Based on the conversation Wednesday, I feel confident that they're, now that they know we're not a private company stepping in, and what the plan is from Tangi Water District with Charles Slicker's group of merging those systems, that we're gonna be okay, and that, without having to transfer that loan.
Good. Okay, thank you.
We'll have a timeline. We're supposed to meet with Baton Rouge, a call tomorrow or Wednesday with Baton Rouge, is the USDA contact in Baton Rouge as well as AMET.
If you don't mind, maybe by the next meeting, if we have some more information, if we
Absolutely.
could, because people are getting close to Christmas, and last year was when we had that.
Right.
So they're getting a little nervous. I know we ain't gonna be anywhere close for this year, but at least to see where the time frame is.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Thank you.
All right, that's it on the agenda, final. Okay, beer, wine, liquor permits? None. Legal matters?
Short report, the council received a notice from me this week that the lawsuit filed by Dorsey, just the people that are developing the dollar store or attempted to build out the dollar store on Highway 22 Dutch Lane, the court ruled in our favor, denying their appeal there. It's very likely they'll take an appeal to the Court of Appeals, so the case is not over. If you remember, they brought an additional claim after they filed the first one, making a claim for federal right, and that would give them the ability to get their attorney's fees paid if they had won against us. Well, that cuts both ways, and so as a prevailing party at the trial level at least, we could ask for them to pay your attorney's fees, which were more significant than we thought. They really fought us hard. So unless I hear an objection from the council or from the administration, we will file a motion to get them to make that part of the judgment to pay our fees and the court costs.
I say we do it.
Anything else, Chris?
That's it.
Councilman privileges, I have a couple. I want to recognize, we have 3 new councilmen here tonight. Ms. Ciatat is here, Mr. Havis is here, and Mrs. Tanagra is here. I want to congratulate you 3. We also have our newly elected sheriff, Gerald Sticker, here tonight, and congratulate you. Thank you all for serving. Thank you for wanting to serve the public. And I have one other one, and I didn't bring this up at the last meeting because I don't want to hear any crying, but there was a football game in Strawberry Stadium at the beginning of the month, and the Hammond Tornadoes scored 31 points, and the Ponchatoula Green Wave scored 13, so I'm looking down here at these 2 on the end. But I gave y'all a break, okay? I let it go for a while. Next year, we're going to require everybody to wear purple. Any other councilman privileges?
Yeah, I got a couple, David. I'm happy to see Carlo back. You know, he's been under the weather, my seatmate, and he's doing well. Thank you for being back with us, Carlo.
Thank you.
And also I ask you to keep Trent Forrest and Lionel Wells in your prayers. Trent's mother is very ill, and he's with her right now. Lionel Wells had a procedure done, and we wish him well. And last but no means least, I'll be representing the parish council. I have been invited by Dr. Wainwright to do the invocation at his investiture on December the 1st, and I accept it.
Great.
Yeah,
Right
thank
on. You wear cap and gown?
I can. I may wear my military uniform.
There you go. You still fit?
Yeah.
That out a little bit.
Oh, I'm gonna miss Carlo when he's gone.
And I did leave one party out who's sitting at the end of the table, who is now leaving us and going to state legislature.
Yeah,
Ms. Coates.
congratulations.
That's right.
Any other councilman privileges?
Oh, excuse me.
Mr. Joseph, when is the Veterans Reefs?
We
For the,
we received them on the 17th, and we put them on the graves in December. It'd be at Walmart. I'll keep you posted.
Any other councilman privileges?
I move we adjourn.
All right, it's a motion to adjourn. Are there any objections? Hearing none, meeting over. We do have, give us about 5 minutes or so, we have a fire board meeting.
Wait, I do want to say something. I want to congratulate Mr. Rangel Pittman. He purchased his first Christmas tree this year. I saw it.
As a married man.
He's going to learn real quick. Go get an artificial tree. It saved you a lot of time. Congratulations.
Good job.
Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned, I'm sorry.